All right. Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Peace to the family. We here with Reality Speaks, where information plus black power breaks the chains. Y'all know what it is. We've been doing this for 29 years now. 29 years here in the Tubman City, Baltimore area. And we've been bringing everybody that you could think of in the conscious community, from Dr. Francis Cress Wells and Dr. Ben, Dr. Bar Shango, Sister Soldier, Dr. Patricia Newton, Dr. Africa, Baba Dick Gregory. Just that's just to name a few. We'll name some more as we go on, but we are here live as we work to build this Reality Speaks media platform. We've been doing it consistently, probably I think since maybe March, February, March. We've been doing it consistently, and we just working to be that outlet for our people, the outlet for our people, so that we can continue again to bring the information for inspiration, for the purpose of elevation, and that's what we do. I got my brother here with me today. Uh, Welcoming him to the Reality Speaks lecture series, to the Reality Speaks family, even though he's been coming to Reality Speaks for years. He's been coming with us for years, and joining us even as a young man, even as a teenager. He has joined us with Reality Speaks. So we appreciate that. And now this brother, he went on to further his education. He went on to get his doctorate degree, went on to do many great things in the community, many businesses in the community. This brother had businesses. He's with TNAT, Temple of New African Thought, and just continues to do great work in the community. So how you doing today, good brother? Let me just say, we bring to you today our good brother, Dr. Ausar Winkler.
Peace, brother with Jabari. Peace, family. I'm doing awesome, doing great. It's a pleasure to come in the lines and the legacy of all those great names that you mentioned before me. And definitely, I appreciate you giving a little background about I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I was birthed into this movement. Ashe.
Ashe. Been doing it for a long time, and come from a great line of divine. Your father, Baba Ausar,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Winkler, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a fellow barber. He's a fellow barber. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
master barber. Your father is a master at his trade at barbering. He's been doing it
Mm-hmm.
for more years than I have. I've been doing it for 30-something years, and he probably been doing it for who knows how long exactly. Pop has been, doing what he's been doing, but we appreciate the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge and information that he's been getting out to the community through that forum in the Black Barbershop. So we
I see.
appreciate him, and we appreciate him for bringing you and your family along to Reality Speaks lectures, but not only Reality Speaks, but to community events and lectures, and making sure that y'all was involved. And I'm sure Mama had a lot to do with that also, and just a very positive family, man. We appreciate the Winklers. We appreciate what y'all have brought to the Tubman City area. I'm not familiar with y'all other places, so I'm gonna just say the Tubman City area.
Yeah, we worldwide. We worldwide.
No,
But yeah, definitely. Thank you, brother. And
no,
thanks for all that you do and your family have contributed to the community as well.
no doubt, no doubt. All right, so look, today it ain't no mystery. So we've been doing this lecture series. We getting ready to start doing this lecture series. So this is what I call uh JRL, right? We're gonna be doing this for the next probably month or so. We're gonna be bringing in different couples, different people to talk about relationships in our community. 29 years we've been doing this great lecture series, and one of the most important areas that we have to touch on is black man and black woman relationships, because relationships lead to families, and families of course lead to communities, and communities lead to nations. But there has been great concern in our community with our relationships, and
Hmm.
partly with, and I listened to one of my grand teachers, Dr. Barashango, who would say, whenever you look at stuff and you approach stuff, just know that an enemy has done this. An enemy has brought a lot of the different things that uh the miscommunication that we have in our community, you know, been responsible for a lot of the things that being oppressed, being here in America. Many times we tend to follow the trends. We watch the TV shows. We watch we listen to the music, and much of the music and the TV shows promote this way of thinking. You know what I mean? Which is separation between a black man and black woman. If you buy into it, regardless of one way or another, whether the men buy into it. I know back in the day we had in the 80s, we had people like Big Daddy Kane. We had like a lot of conscious music back in those days. And then they brought to us NWA. They brought NWA to us, and that started to flip the way that we started to look at women. Well, actually, a little bit before that, there was Two Live Crew. Let me be clear. There was a Two Live Crew who started to bring that bring that look in, and started to give us a different look and approach at different things. We got to be real. Let's keep it 100. And then there was NWA, niggas with attitudes, you know what I'm saying? And so then they started to, just overload with the BITCH, BBBBB, and and ultimately, a lot of us started, referring to women, because we went from the Queen movement, and now it's BBBBB, BBBBB, you know. So here we are now. Some of that stuff is some of the separations, but you know, we here now to talk about real relationships, and we gotta heal in our relationships. So that's why we're here today. Jabari Relationship League. Now we have a little fun with this with Jabari Relationship League. I like to we would do this in the shop and play along with it, because I think that people have to be given their accolades for being in relationships for a very long time. And let me just say for the record, because I'm talking a lot. But let me just say, with our guest, Dr. Ausar, very proud of this brother, because brother, how old are you, if you don't mind saying?
I think I'm 45 now.
He thinks he's 45.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you got a birth certificate we can pull from and stuff?
You stop counting after a while. You're like, ah. But I think, yeah. I'm pretty strong. I'm 45. Yes.
He's pretty strong. Pretty strong.
We forget that, it doesn't mean as much to you after you start accumulating those years.
He gonna tell me, and I'm 49.
Pardon.
Uh, so
Yeah.
what makes this interesting, bro, to have you on here speaking, is that
Hmm.
you're 45 years old and you have been married for, I think that is what, 24 years that's
Yeah.
coming?
Yep. 24 years
24
in
years
August. In
in,
August. Yep.
in August. The
26.
brother 26.
No, August the 26th.
August 26 to be
Uh-huh.
24 years.
Yeah.
And they have been together, I think, for, is it 28 years?
29, actually. I was just thinking about the number you were saying. So we've been together since we were 16.
16 years old.
Hmm.
Wow. That's beautiful. High school sweethearts. High school sweethearts.
Is she the sweetheart, or am I part of the sweetheart too? I'm just trying to figure out. Can I be a sweetheart?
That's a good question, bro. We're gonna have to take that to. We're gonna have to bring that to the barbershop and examine that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, someone know
Yeah,
you could be a
she's
sweetheart.
my at least safe for now. She's my high school sweetheart.
She's- no doubt,
we have
no doubt.
we have to ask her, on the other end if that's manly enough.
Well,
But
I had to actually get used to even even on Facebook putting hearts on. You know what I mean? When brothers make statements on
mm,
Facebook, I had to
mhm.
get used to even putting hearts on it. You know what I mean? When brothers would make statements and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Oh
saying? Like
yeah,
I love this. At first, it was like kind of like
we're growing.
man,
We're growing. We're getting all connected with
like
our heart and our emotions and our feelings and all those things. What a wonderful thing. We're evolving as black men.
uh, no doubt, no doubt. But um, I would say that you being married for so long and such a young man, that's beautiful, and that's what our community needs. And so that's what qualifies you to be what I call a professional relationshipist, if that's a word, right?
Relationship is
Relationshipist, yes.
all
Nah,
right.
that's not a word, but that's what qualifies you to speak, on this show here today because you've done some great work. And so far as what I'm saying, with my system, Jabari's relationship lead, the
Mhm.
highest level that you can go is get married. And to get
Mm,
married is the highest level of relationship that you can go
mhm,
down. We say as a people, with so far as education, you took it to the highest level. You got your doctorate degree, right?
mhm,
Now, so far as in family, so far as me being in a relationship, you got married. That's the highest degree that you probably that's the highest degree that you can go to. And that's what we should be striving to be in our community, to be in committed relationships that we uh uh that we pronounce out in front of the community. You know what I mean? That to be in committed relationship because commitment brings about stability. And when you
mm.
have stability within the community, you can get some things done. But when you run around, you unstable, when you're doing this and you're doing that, it causes a bit of instability. So that's what qualifies you here today. So in my system, we say that have if you're married, right, that's the highest level. And we say
Mm,
that we play with it like it's NFL, right? So
mhm,
if you go for 5 years, every 5 years you get a ring. You get a
mm.
ring. So you got how many years? 20, 24?
Um, married 24 years.
24 years. So that'd
Mhm,
be, what I'm saying, you got 5 rings, bro. Five
mm.
rings. Every 5 years you get a ring. You know what I'm saying?
Every
So
5 years you get a ring.
you get a ring, yes, sir. And this is my relationship league. So you know what I mean. So people when they start like, what you mean? This is what I made up. It's not out of Dr. Welson's book. It's not out of Dr. Naeem Akbar book. This is out of Jabari's, actually my cell phone. You know what I'm saying? What I
Your cell
jotted,
phone?
yeah, what I jotted these notes down out my notepad or whatever. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's what it is. So brother, you've been
Well, I mean, just make sure you give me my rings next time I see you.
yes, sir,
Uh,
yes, sir, yes, sir. Definitely, definitely, definitely,
it's in
definitely.
your league. That means
Uh,
you hold the rings.
I hold the rings. Yes,
You
sir.
must hold the rings because
That's right.
I'm waiting on them.
Yep. So, um, now y'all met you and your wife met in Baltimore, and probably one of the worst high schools that anyone could ever imagine. And it's like, no, 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 bro. I went to one of those two, bro. So don't worry, don't
I
worry.
mean, you're
It was
not
like,
lying. It's worse in some senses, but also really positive some other senses. I get you. Northern Get High is the name of my high school. We had a song and everything. I didn't know Rough Mike was the one who wrote an actual hip hop song to it.
nah, man, rough Mike.
He actually has the Northern Get High in his hip hop album, and I'm in his rap album, and we used to mix it with a club song. Northern Get High, 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 Northern
Wow,
Get High. But
wow,
that was our words, but I didn't realize that Rough Mike actually wrote a hip hop song with Northern Get High.
wow. Wow. Wow, hey, that's a piece of history right there. I see my man BA has joined in and with some comments, you know what I'm saying? He was saying he know I made that up. Well, BA, we welcome you to the big league, sir. He did recently make the playoffs. Making the playoffs is getting engaged. So he recently made the playoffs, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. So we welcome you to the big league, sir. And hopefully, prayerfully, you can go all the way to the top. You know, and walk down that aisle, sir. So I'm glad you joined us here today. But
So he made it to the playoffs.
he made it to the playoffs. Yeah, getting to the playoffs is being engaged.
Okay, okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, being engaged.
Congratulations, brother BA.
Yeah.
I didn't realize BA standing for the Black Avenger. Okay, cool,
Well, he
cool.
think the brother think he's like a superhero, so he's really into like comics and things of that nature. So he really
Mhm.
sometimes he really thinks he's a superhero.
Okay.
It's a long story, bro. Yeah, yes, it's a long story. But he's not. But honestly, he's not. He's like the more dark character. He's like the more of the villain than the
Oh,
actual. Yeah, than the actual like.
superhero.
Yeah, than a superhero. He's more of the Scar and Lion King. He would be
Mhm.
more like Scar than Mufasa.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean that's just some people, man. That's just some people. So let's talk about being married. Now let's go in. Then you got married at a very young age. Now, do
Mhm.
you do you is this what you promote, that people get married coming out of high school, or do you think that people should aspire to get married at very young ages? Because let me just say, Dr. Wells and Dr. Francis Cress Wells, and that we love and honor and respect, one of my
Mhm.
teachers, she promotes that she, I think, in the 30s, that she think that people should, wait and get themselves established and get things straight, and somewhere like in early 30s is when you should probably get married and start having children or whatever. So what would you say, sir, that you think is a good age for that?
I think idealistically, I would say much younger. I appreciate and respect Dr. Welsing, but looking at it from an African centered perspective, I look at that waiting till you're 30 as being an extended period of adolescence. Whereas from an African centered perspective, we understand that you don't really get that extended, or even some people would say an period of adolescence in general, because when we go through a rite of passage in our teenage years, we go from being youth to an adult, from a boy to a man, from a girl to a woman, and then there's some expectations of you. Um, but I, but even more than that, I don't really agree with this idea of settling down in later years, because I think it becomes more difficult to do so. Neurologically, it's more difficult to deal and mold yourself with another person, because your personality has now set in. Your ways of thinking, feeling, and acting is set in. So if you set in at the age of 30, 40, and 50, basically what happens is when you're now trying to get with somebody, it's very difficult. So I think the younger you do that, the better. And again, we have to take into account um, that there has to be a support from a greater system, meaning the familial system, the family system, to support that. So yeah, I don't think we should wait to have children even at these later years. Even some of the research, and I haven't looked at it in some time, but back when I was probably an undergrad, it was talking about the later that you wait, or when you get to your mid 30s and so on and so forth, the likelihood of Down syndrome and all types of other things increases significantly. Now, because of prenatal medicine and all these other things, people are having children later. But we talk about nature, and it's more natural to have these have children and build families, from what I would argue, to more natural to do this during your natural child rearing years, and also um, uh, uh, your earlier more your developmental ear. I'm just gonna say, yeah, it'll be more natural to do that earlier.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, and I understand it. I granted, but what? So what this society pushes, and they did it to us,
Mhm.
actually coming up, was that, I know at one point, when I was 19, 20, 21, I was I got engaged when my first engagement when I was about,
Mhm.
I guess, 22, maybe. I think
Mhm.
21 or 22. And I had a panel of brothers who got together, and they was all from the conscious community, was like, sat me down like, bro, nah, this too early. Like, you need to wait, man. You ain't seen life yet.
Mhm.
You ain't seen nothing yet. You know what I mean? For you to just be
Mhm.
settling down. And I was adamant. I was like, nah, man. I mean,
Mhm.
what do I need? I mean, what else do I need to see? I know what I
Mhm.
see. I know what I want to do. And they was
Mhm.
adamant. They was mad at me because I was just like, nah, man. I mean, I hear what y'all saying, but I think that I need to, be able to go through with this. So there's just this, there's this thing that's out there, and like especially for men, especially like I said, when we talked about the NWA, and we start talking about this whole bitch thing and all this other kind of stuff, and the dehumanization of women or whatever. But there's this whole thing where men are supposed to go out and get it. Like, we supposed to hit everything that ain't nailed down, everything
Mhm.
that's moving, and get this. What do you think about that type of teaching for men? Let's talk about men right now.
Well, I think it's horrendous. I think it's um bad. For lack of a better term, I think it causes all types of trauma, which makes it more difficult for men and also the women who they traumatize to be in trustworthy relationships later in life. So due to, and then also it makes it more difficult for men because in those experience and also in those experiences they also experience rejection, abandonment, all types of things because we're playing games. When you're
Mhm.
playing games and selling your oats, you're hurting someone in the process. So it
That's
makes
right.
it less likely that when you're now 30 and 40, when you really want to settle down, that you can find someone who hasn't been hurt. So now we got all these years of 20 to 30 to hurt somebody, 16 to 30 to hurt somebody, 14 to 30 to hurt somebody. Now we want to settle down with the people that we hurt. Now they can't trust you. And then you want to understand. Now you're trying to understand what the issue is, why this person cannot trust you.
Mm, mm.
Well,
And
while meanwhile, a brother like myself who settled down in his early 20s, by the time he's 30, we've been our brains and then wired together, our behaviors then molded together. We kind of know each other. We've learned to trust each other. We even learned to really know what this idea of love is. You understand? This person becomes you, you become her, your family become you, that her family become yours, his family becomes hers, all this type of thing. So now when you're in your 30s, it's more like you're skating. Now, what I will say is when we look at what those brothers were saying, maybe I'm not sure, did they see something else in you to say you weren't ready?
you asking me?
Now this is hypothetical, but if you
Oh,
want to
okay, got
answer that, you could. It was just a rhetorical
you. Right.
question. But what maybe an elder would say, well, you're not ready because you're just not ready. You might hurt somebody because you're not ready, because you're not committed. You don't show a level of discipline. I mean, I can get with that idea, but that needs to be clearly articulated that you're not ready because of
Nah,
you have to get these things together.
nah. It was a study group, and it was just really, some of those men wasn't married, and
Mhm,
they was, I guess they had probably been through child support and all that other kind of stuff, and it
mhm,
was kind of like, wait, man, hold up, you need to make sure, you need to make
mhm,
sure,
mhm.
you ain't seen nothing yet, you ain't even really dated like that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem having the traumatized lead the traumatized. No, lead the now I'm not even gonna say traumatized. The traumatized were trying to be leaders. Now they traumatize the next generation. It's called they didn't heal up enough to kind of really give the best advice. They probably meant well, but really um their experience didn't have to be your experience. It's better to deal with someone who has been through the process and can show you how to successfully um, go through that process versus people who are doing it and now they're coming out of their hurt. Or if you were hurt and you've been through it, now you've healed and learned from that.
Right, right. Well, I would say, also, bro, I mean, it's a whole lot of other different reasons too. Because I used to be one of those people that used to think that, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, you know what I mean, go handle your business, go see what's out there after, and that was after a while, probably after that process when I met with those people.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that I would probably talk to people and be like, man, you need to go see what's out there in the world. And I started kind of adapting that philosophy, but that philosophy can also lead to diseases. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? When you out there hitting and nailing everything down, you know what I'm saying? There's a chance for there's so many different diseases that's out there. Not just diseases, but pregnancies. Now, you know what I mean? And this is one of the largest problems in our community. Single parent homes. So now you get with this person and y'all have a child. Y'all not y'all just smashing and met at a club, you know what I mean? And that night or a day later or 2 weeks later, y'all smashing on a regular. And next thing you know, she's pregnant. They
Yeah,
both
that's
realize I don't know you. No, I don't know you. But what I do realize is that I don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And I don't like you, and I don't like anything about you. And then boom, she has the baby, and then there's another single parent home within our community. This is a harsh reality. This is horrible within our community. Can you just can you speak on that aspect of, somebody out what they call how do they say it? Sorting your royal oats? Is that how they say it?
Yeah, I think the selling your royal oats, whatever they call it, right? I think the problem is they're under the assumption, which I think is a poor assumption, is that the more sex you have, the less the more prepared you're going to get, and you're going to not need that variety anymore. So now you're going to calm down because you had all the different
Right.
strands of
Right.
sex. You didn't had the big booty woman, you didn't had the little thin woman, you didn't had the petite woman, you didn't had all the different types of women. Now you can settle down because you didn't tried it all, so now you can calm down, which that's not necessarily always true, right? Because I mean,
Right.
just think about it. People become addicted to it. It also breeds a certain type of mentality that is unfaithful, and it becomes very difficult to cut that off. Instead of
Mm,
saying, look, bro, learn how to be disciplined, and if you slip up or whatever happened, you're being held accountable, whereas it's giving you permission to act a fool. And it just doesn't work. It's kind of like saying, look, go ahead and snort all the drugs and take all the cocaine and
right.
have
Right.
all
Right.
the
Get it out
weed
your
and do
system.
all these different things so that when you get older, you won't want any more of that. You've worn yourself out of that.
Right.
No, there's men out here that's 50 and 60, and you should hear the things that they're saying out of their mouths, because I counsel women and counsel men. And you should hear the things that these sisters who are single, when they come to meet a male, and the things that he is still saying. In fact, the things that those men were probably saying, who were probably 30 and 40 when you were 20. You know, she should ask them, what age are you going to grow up?
Mm. Yeah, it's a serious situation, bro. And no longer can we sign on, the behaviors that we have out in our community. Now, here you are. Now, you out smashing, you still doing your thing. Now, you got somebody pregnant. Now you got another woman pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got so-called two baby mamas that you have. And then sometime it go to three baby mamas. Now, and they and most of the time it's not a real cool relationship,
Mm-hmm.
And now, not on top of that, economically, when we talking about the black community getting ourselves together, now you got child support that you're paying for three children
Mm-hmm.
at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the emotional impact of just that aspect, bro. I mean, for us going out having as much fun as we want to. Talk about that, bro.
Yeah, I think that's the other problem. So, I mean, if our dear elders would say, go out there and don't do anything until you're 30, which I also think is an issue. Um, um, but that would be better. It's like, so now go sell your royal oats, and maybe it doesn't really matter how many children you make. But I guess you shouldn't make children. You shouldn't make children until you're 30, or that makes no sense even biologically. Like, nobody should wait that long, But the trauma that comes about as a result of there not being a two parents in the household is pretty significant. because your mommy never liked your daddy, and your daddy never liked that your mommy. And when your mommy is frustrated and say, "Get out," and I don't want to see you again, now you trying to figure out why daddy is not there, and mommy didn't told you all types of things, or daddy didn't told you all types of things. It now has a child growing up and saying, "Why did my daddy or why did not my mommy care about me enough to stick here with me, to be in a
Mm,
relationship with my mother?" Then it also has this, it creates this piece of, I'm comparing, other households, although it's becoming more common that, people aren't really together. But really it does cause a lot of trauma, and it causes a lot of conflict in the mind of our children, which creates a pattern of these
right.
things.
That's right.
Although that child often says, "I don't want to ever do what my father did," but the reality is, the more you're not trying to be a thing, you become a thing. If you focus on it too deeply. I'm not Simbi gonna get me for that one. I'm saying Simbi type stuff now. Peace, brother Simbi. Peace, brother Kwame.
Peace,
Yeah.
brother Kwame. Brother Kwame, I wasn't talking about you either, man. You know me, brother. Brother Kwame said, I wish I would have moved differently. I have three baby mothers, something I'm not proud of. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, but hey, look, he he ain't the only one. You know, it's some brothers out here that got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 baby mamas. You know,
Hmm.
that's out here right now. You know, and so the thing is that economically good for our people? Is it emotionally good for a brother that's trying to build in the community? You know, trying to get his spiritual together, trying to get things together so that he can be, take things to the next level. Is that good for our people? And so this is what some of the teaching has been in our community, especially since NWA and a lot of these other folks actually been coming on, So we got to keep it real. I know people gonna say, "Why are you just blaming rap music?" It's not just rap music. It's television in general. Uh, yeah, man. And I tell you this. Then there's this
So,
assumption. Then there's this assumption that
mhm,
black men just don't take care of their children. So
mhm.
now, okay, you have these people with these baby mamas. Oh, let me put with we have these people now. Now they have baby, all of these baby mamas running around in the community. Oh man, wait a minute, wait a minute, fam. Hold up,
Mhm.
oh, 1 second. Cut this off. Right. So now the home, all these broken homes are now, and let's be honest, some people may get offended from this. Uh, Estrogen filled homes, because now the dad is not in the house, he's not in the home, and now you just have the children who are mostly a lot of the times with the mother are now just with the mother, and now there's like an estrogen overload. To me, is one of the biggest problems in our community right now, is these single parent homes that are really just, what I'm saying, really headed by a mother, but then there's the mother and father issue where, like you said, mom and dad don't get along with each other. They don't get along with each other. And now you have this child that's coming up, this young man who's at the snap of somebody touch him, somebody poke him, and you're like, what you do? What you do this for? You know what I'm saying? His emotions are way out of control. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, and not all the time, because men are there, they're in the community. What do you think about that, bro?
I don't know if I would agree with the causality. I think that that might be one factor, right?
Okay.
I think I'll guard against saying that women are emotional and create emotional creatures. I mean, any more emotional or different. I think it's just emotionally made up a little, or nurtured to be a little different than men are being reared. But nonetheless, I don't think there will be, I think that the trauma still exists, whether or not the woman, the man, even if let's say the parent, let's say the children were reared in single parent households and the men were to be the predominant caregiver or the caregiver. I think that there would still be some level of imbalance there,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and lots of times when we talk about this emotion, this lack of emotional regulation that we speak about, it has a lot to do with some hurt, some pain, some pain of sort. And there's a saying, I think out of brother Resma Minicum talks about out of his book, My Grandmother's Hands, is that one of his mentors told him, if it's hysterical, it's probably historical. So there's some history there of some unresolved pain, hurt, trauma, whatever you want to call it, more than it just being the rearing of um I don't want to put it on a woman, you know what I'm saying? Like the men could do any better if they were single parents. But I
Right.
want to say is if both parents are together, the research supports that the outcomes are more favorable. But it's also the research also supports that even in these households that we find ourselves in, where if the parents aren't regulating their emotions, whether or not they are together, it's probably better that they are separated, if rather than being dysregulated, arguing with one another, and the children are there witnessing the abuse and being traumatized in the process nonetheless.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
other research also shows that although black men are not necessarily quote, black men may not be in the house with their children, but they are the most engaged fathers on this in this country. They are involved in their children's lives like no other father. So we also
Mm.
got to keep that clear as well.
Yeah,
And
and I just think that even what you saying, you know what I'm saying, that you know it just needs to be more balanced. And the reason why I said, what I'm saying, like, you spend a lot of time with, with the mothers a lot of time because, like I
mhm.
said, I mean, a lot of times, if you go to court, it's like every other weekend. I think that the men get visitation rights. I think it's every other weekend. That's not a lot of time to spend with your dad. That's all I'm saying. So even if they are in separate homes, and like you said, some people need to be, but you know, it's still not a lot of time to be around that, what I mean, around that energy.
You
And
know,
what I mean, and in some kind of way, we got to balance. We got to put more balance on that.
I think men tend to be men. I think also that emotional dysregulation that you speak about has a lot more to do with this misculture, I'm going to call it, than it does even the single mother. Because the reality is, a lot of times the women who are rearing children all by themselves, they're not the most uh they don't necessarily they're not always historically um the most emotionally available or easily to even read their emotions all the time. Sometimes they have to learn to compartmentalize their emotions, and that's how men are generally kind of reared in this country, to compartmentalize their emotions. So when something really happens, he blows up because he has not learned to really deal with his emotions or really respect or engage with his emotions, so he doesn't know how to deal with the heat. But he can let things roll off his chest and do this thing and that thing, but when something really matters, he blows up because he doesn't have any experience with emotions in general. Men are very emotionally dysregulated when something really happens.
Mm.
I'm talking about, it doesn't even matter if they came out of a household with both their parents. Is if you weren't reared to be emotionally intelligent and in tune with your emotions, when something hits the fan, you blow your stack. And that's a problem. That's a problem in the rearing of men, and even mothers who even mothers or fathers or those who are together. They teach that sometimes, traditionally, historically, we say, look, you have to shut up. You look, boys don't cry, boys don't do this, and all that type of thing. So literally, they don't learn to be in tune with their emotions. So when something happens again, they dysregulate.
But that's something that's important though. Like, I mean, men being around, and we speak on that. I used to talk about how my uncle or
Mhm.
my father or somebody will see, they be around you and might see you, walking a little bit, little funny, like, hey boy, put some pep in your step. Hey, what's the hey man? Put a little slick in your bop, you know. Hey, look, hey man, hey, why your wrist bent over like hey, hold your wrist up, man. You know, I
Mhm.
mean, but that I mean, honestly, like you need that though. You need that and you need that in a household. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of times when there's those small things
That's
that
not
when
emotional,
when that man is I'm sorry, go ahead.
but that doesn't teach emotional intelligence. That doesn't teach emotional regulation. I mean, I get that, but I'm saying even in that, you do need. I'm not going to probably agree with everything you said,
Oh,
but you
I
do
yeah.
you do need a certain level of structure, is what I'm hearing. You do need a certain level of manhood training, right? I think that's what I'm hearing you say. I'm agreeing with that holistically.
And you
Now,
need to hear some raw. You need to hear some raw. You need, I mean, you got to hear that. You got to hear that sometime.
well, I mean, it depends on what that is.
What I'm talking about is you need to hear.
What's
You know what
that?
I
What's
mean?
that? What's that? What's that?
Raw. You know, you
Like
need
what's
you.
raw? Give me an example.
Well, a lot of times, men and women may handle things differently with
Mhm,
how on discipline. Where a
mhm.
man more so gonna be like, hey man, didn't I tell you put that down? Just imagine how he hitting those syllables. Didn't I tell you put that down? You
Yeah, I
know,
don't think that's raw. I
yeah,
think
you know what I'm
that I
saying?
think that's pretty just stern.
Well, I mean, you could say raw, stern, but
Because
that's but
raw is kind of like uncut. You understand what I'm trying to say? Raw is unrefined. Raw is it means you say what you say, how you say it. Now, if you're saying just stern, there's a level of structure and sternness that is necessary. I would say I agree. And the research supports that as well.
yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. What I'm
Uh,
just talking about, like I said, I'm not blaming no notice I want you to understand that
mhm.
I'm not blaming the man or the one. Well, no, actually I'm blaming both. It's both it's both of our faults, that we not getting along. I'm not saying it's the woman's fault. I'm not saying so when I say single parent homes, I'm just saying single parent. It just so happens that most of the time the children wind up staying with the mother. That's what I'm saying, and that's just because we're not getting along. So there's no blame. There's not me. I'm not just saying no.
Mhm.
Women just doing this, but it just so happens that they wind up staying with the mother most of the time, and that's the fault that the man and the woman can't get along with each other
Mhm.
to raise up that
And,
child because
and
there's just different elements that we need.
and I guess the reason why I'm saying this, I want to be clear because when someone says raw, it typically says is raw. It means you say what you say, and what I was going to
Oh,
say
okay.
is,
Okay. Go ahead.
and what I'm going to say is, I want to hear an example of that because raw means uncut,
Right.
and
Okay. Okay.
also there's no filter, pretty much.
Mhm.
And
No, no.
then what I would say is, I know my father, who I consider a great man and a great father, never was he wasn't uncut with me. He was very intentional. And my father, in some sense, was a little more, uh, 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 um, 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 a little bit more passive in a sense than my own mother. In a sense, you understand. My mother was
Mhm.
more of the assertive one, but daddy, when daddy come home, he about business and he ain't gotta say much. Just his presence alone was enough. My father didn't have to even raise his voice, and not even raising his voice was more penetrating than any yelling my mother any
But it was the
yelling that my
it
mother
wa
could even ever do.
it was the ice grill though, bro. You know what I mean? It's just what I mean. You sometimes you ain't
Mm-mm.
even got to say nothing. You
My
know what I mean?
father
Just
didn't even give me no ice cream. You ever seen how my father looked? He just looked
I
like
see your father, man.
he
He can
he
be
just looked he just looked like this. Okay, so what are you gonna do? So
it's a little
why
it's a little
why why did you do that?
it's a little scary though, bro.
Explain that to me, please. Yeah.
Nah, look, I seen
Mhm.
Pops, man. Pop could look a little scary sometimes, and I don't mean he not that he walk around with a mug on, but he just
Mhm.
got that look like I'm not playing
Right.
with you. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you
I
know.
get
So,
that. No,
so
I think it's
I can see how you can look at him and be like, oh, he not playing.
yeah, I get that. But I again, I take it to be, just to be clear, I think it's more about the lack of collaboration of both parents than it is
Yes,
one or the other
yeah,
gender's faults.
I agree.
Mhm.
I definitely agree. I'm in agreement with that. But like I said, it's just the overload that's happening right now that we got to figure out how to balance out. There was an organization called Together Apart, and the focus of was is how to get parents to work together even when they're apart.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you appear as a united front with the children, you can still make it work. You can still make it work, and the child can still be able to get some of those things that he's able to get. I mean, if the village is functioning correctly, even if they separated, that child should have some uncles, should have some, some cousins or some other people that should be able to step in there also if the village is functioning correctly. But we know a lot of times our village is not functioning the way that it's supposed to be functioning right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the village is definitely not functioning, and I think that's why the stress is on the parent, the individual parent, even on the nuclear family. When the village isn't functioning, even two-parent households struggle to rear children
Yeah.
um, without, it's a struggle. The village is needed whether the mother and father's there, and our belief system that this nuclear family is enough is problematic. In fact, it's still too much for a mother and a father to do it alone. I was talking to you earlier, and I shared with you that never in my entire life of raising, my entire life of raising, but never in my rearing of my two sons have we ever had to pay for daycare.
Mm.
Um, Never have we even had to go outside of our extended family to the greater community even. And that's why, I'm not saying anything is wrong with the greater community, but what I am saying is many times even the greater community, we don't know people. We're taking our children to people we don't even know. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reality is strong families are needed. And I'm saying strong families, I'm saying whereas as long as you have strong families that support one another, we are more likely to succeed in all that we do. We're more
Right.
successful in our endeavors. We're more successful in whatever those endeavors are, whether that's schooling, education, starting a business, taking risks, whatever it is, because you have a more stable and secure foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and bro, I would say this. Um, One of the criticisms that I would have about with you is that you 45
Yes, sir.
and you don't have a daughter. I think y'all need to make that happen, man. Hey, look,
Uh,
I'm a growing. Let me stop, bro. You
make that happen.
talk to your wife, man. You know what I'm saying, and go back in the lab, man. Y'all might get, make that daughter happen, bro.
Yeah, I think the creator, the ancestors knew I was not mature enough for a daughter in our child rearing years.
All right, let's stick to you. You gonna get me in trouble with this one, man. Uh, let's go on to next. We talked about the brothers, right?
Hmm.
In specific. Let's talk in general. Sisters.
Hmm.
And we talked about the brothers being out there, loosey goosey and all. But let's talk about many women who encourage women to go out and what they call a whole phase. Um, Talk about the whole phase, bro.
Can I back up before you even go there?
Okay, good.
There's a term, and I can't recall this term, but the sisters are talking about it, and they're called. I forgot what it's called. Like brothers are waiting till they're sick to get married. So in
Mm.
essence, what's happening is
So
women
they
are getting
sick?
married, they're sick. So when they're 40 and 50 and they're no longer have their health is declining, this
Wow.
is when they're choosing to get married. So now what they do is they sign up to get married, now getting married, and now they have to take care of this brother. I'm saying it's a real thing that's being talked about. There's a term, there's terms around it. And so, and they're really talking about it because brothers are they're getting frustrated because they're saying, now that I finally get married, now this I don't have time to spend with a husband, and I have to now take care of him. I have to become his care provider. Not
Mm.
and that's okay because when we're younger, we in our best years. But now we're getting married at 50 and 60, and that's not old, but a lot of us, we're declining a lot. We're declining pretty early. So now I have to take care of you, and I just married you. And then the frustration behind that after now wanting somebody since they were young in their young 20s. But go ahead, I just wanted to put that up in there, which I think that's another reason why we need to stop playing with these fake adolescent years, and really prepare our children to really look at being with someone else younger in their child rearing years, in their early adult years, even. Not
Okay.
looking for a whole phase, not looking for selling your oats. But go ahead, let's transition into that.
So I mean, I want to comment what you were saying. And people getting married at older ages. I don't care how old you may be. Honestly, I support that. I support people. I mean, some people who take a long time to mature to the level where they ready for a commitment and all. So I mean, there's
That's not the problem. The
yeah,
problem is that this is what we're shooting. This is what we're saying that the norm is becoming.
right.
Where you get to sell your oats for your first 20 years, man. Brothers don't be trying to settle down until they 40 or 50. Like they've been playing the field for a long time.
Yeah, but the field and played them after a minute. So
And that's what we talking
but
about.
yeah, by the time you 40 or 50, you wore out. You know what I'm saying? This man out there being
Now you
a
want
porn,
somebody to take care of you.
he a porn star. He been a porn star.
You want a
He
deaf you want a deaf you want a deaf doula, not a wife.
I mean, yeah, because he been out there running them streets real heavy.
Well, that's what
You
I'm
know?
talking about. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's no
exactly.
problem to find it when I get
Yeah,
that, but the problem is that we're telling the people not to do it. It's become the norm, like
right.
you started off. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem if somebody
yeah,
got divorced or they
yeah,
struggled to get there, but to make
yeah,
that the norm is ridiculous.
yeah. That's crazy. That's definitely crazy. So let's talk about this whole phase because I've heard this all over the internet. I've heard it on YouTube and these women talking about, every woman has to have a whole phase.
Every woman has to have a whole
What what
face.
what what
Who's
kind
saying
of
this?
trauma? You haven't seen this on YouTube?
I
You know what I'm
mean,
saying?
like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out who's saying this.
You talk about in specific?
Like, what's their age? What's their racial makeup? What's
I
like
don't.
what is their celebrity status?
They're
What's
not. They're not. They're not encouraging them to be married. Especially at early ages.
Are they
It's like
married? Uh,
what it's like. Get your career straight. Get your career straight. Get all your. You know what I mean. Get your money straight. Get your finances straight. And while you're doing that, have some fun.
you
Have
know
some fun.
why?
You know what I mean? And because don't you're already handling your business with all your money
That's
matters.
that's poor information. I'm gonna tell you where I think some of it is coming from. It's coming from poor relationships and women being in relationships. I'm just with men who are not emotionally connected to them, and although they are in relationships with them, they are running the yard. They are running. They're playing the field. And it comes from a lot, and I don't want to blame it all on men, but I do realize from working with women and men that lots of times uh the elder women who are giving this advice are really coming from a place of hurt, because they're like, look, don't waste your life, don't
Right,
waste your time doing what I did.
right,
And so again, this is the hurt trying to lead the next generation. This is
right.
the unresolved trauma. This is unresolved trauma. So again, this is poor guidance, but I understand it.
Semi say the men are having whole phases most of our lives. Don't hate when the women.
I think we should not. I think regardless, we shouldn't
Yeah,
normalize it either way.
because see, we did talk about
Mhm,
we started off talking about the men and
mhm.
how we didn't agree with theirs. You know what I mean? So we wasn't in here. We wasn't high fiving. We wasn't high fiving on the men doing it. And and,
So
and 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 mostly I would say, even my son, people that's coming up now, I would
mhm.
definitely encourage and what I mean, not encourage them to go out and hoe around and whole phase and all that kind of stuff, because it's, again, we talked about that. It's dangerous. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous emotionally, spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
financially, in every way. And building up our community is dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to do, to develop that sexual appetite that you just can't control. And see, because that's what happens after a while. When you get out there and you start doing it, you get addicted to it.
The problem with,
There's sex addiction that's out there.
but the other problem with whole phases or education phases, which is more common, which you, when you wait too long to now procreate, even, and now you're 40 and 50 and you're feeling lonely, and you feel like you miss your your time because you don't have children. If you don't have children, or you have children without any baby fathers around, or you have baby fathers in several places, or you might have a good relationship. So it's not healthy, for the individuals, nor is it healthy for our next generation, regardless if it's the man or the woman hoeing.
Well, let me see. Did I put his? Oh, comment on this. The Semi said, okay. Semi, you welcome to come in if you would like, sir. I'll put
Do
the.
do I think that it is normal? Anything? Yeah, I think things can change if our consciousness change and the cultural messages that we put out there. There's people that live today that, and from different cultural backgrounds, that don't adhere to whole phases. Now, those of us who are um, in oppressed conditions that we find in disconnected from our culture, we can normalize anything. But that's the reason to combat these things and really examine these things and to work on intentionally creating culture that is healthy for our next generation.
We just put the link, and you know what I mean. So if anybody wants to join.
Sidebar and put the link in there. Oh man,
Yeah, that's how I be getting you, Doctor Saw.
I told you, I
I say,
told you,
man,
I'm not. I
man, here's
told
the
you,
link, bro.
I told you, I'm not falling for your link trick no more.
Here's the link. But even brother Kwame, if you want to come in, you know what I'm saying. If you still,
Hmm.
yeah, and we are. It is recorded, brother Kwame. You can go to Reality Speaks Media, or you could go to TNAT. Is- What is it? Is it TNAT?
Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler.
Yeah. So
That's the
we definitely,
handle.
yeah. So you can definitely do that. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, I wanted to talk about that because it's just such a, and then people say that it's just uneven. You know what I'm saying? Why should men be able to do this and then women can't? And so what happens? Even after maybe a woman may start early, she may start
Hmm.
early and have a good relationship that she's been in, and then she'll get to her 30s and then be encouraged, like, girl, go out there and do you. Go out there and have you some fun. Go out there.
Hmm.
I mean, but see, it's stuff is just not that simple, man. It's just not that simple.
Hmm.
Like, sometimes when people go out and do them, the first time you may go out and do that, it might be the first time you get pregnant, first time you
Hmm.
get a disease, the first time you get this. I think they had one woman, I think who was that story? And that was a crazy movie, but what was that, Precious?
Yeah.
One of those stories, well, I don't even know if it was that one, but it was one story that a woman got HIV, she got pregnant, HIV, and it was another disease all at the same time.
What's a
And
whole phase, though? I mean, I guess if you qualify what a whole phase is, what does that really mean?
it's when you go out and you do pretty much what you want to do, you know, who you want to
Mm.
do, who you want to do and what you want to do,
Hmm.
and enjoy yourself really, like, sexually.
Yeah, the problem I've never, I mean, I've worked with plenty of women who call themselves being in that phase, but I've never seen any of them really feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not, even
Hmm.
when they're convincing themselves that they want to be in that whole phase, or quote unquote, afterwards they regret it. Um, and it's a part. It is, and it is not. It doesn't really go with the cultural um uh, uh, uh let's say moral tale that we live under, because women start counting bodies in a very negative way,
Right.
whereas the moral tale for men or boys, or I mean males or what have you,
Yeah.
um the moral tale tells us that the more bodies you get, the greater you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think things are genetic when it's really the stories and the mythologies that have been told to us, that men are to go and sell their royal oats, whereas women are supposed to be nice and virgins for the rest of their lives, and um, only having sex in missionary style, and all these type of Eurocentric moral tales that just aren't healthy.
You said, so we say the men count women's bodies in a negative way. You okay, so I think he's saying
Yeah, I think both do. I think men count it negatively, how many people you had before me, and also women at some point they start thinking like, "Dang, I had sex with, man, I don't want to have another partner." And so they then say, I'm gonna be abstinent. They go through these cycles inside of their minds. You know what? I can't. It doesn't even go with my religion. Like a lot of our sisters are even Christian or what have you, and they feel like that having sex out of wedlock is just, it doesn't work. So the craziness is, a lot of these sisters are Christian who will say these things about, going to have a what is it called, a hoe off or something like that, and
yeah,
they will be self-proclaimed Christians and never speak about the conflict that goes on inside of their minds or women's minds when they believe that they're supposed to be married before having sex, and they should not be having sex out of wedlock. I am not saying that is my belief, but what I
right,
am saying, that many people who come to me, this is the conflict that they're having.
right, right. I think in many of these phases too, wherever you talking about the whole phase for men or women, we talked about diseases and all that kind of stuff. You ain't talk about the dangers of people that actually get killed because they actually cheating around with somebody's husband or somebody's wife, or you know what I mean. And then oftentimes this leads to people getting shot and killed or beat, or it's a lot of stress.
What's
These
that?
deep
Oh,
these
Jabari, you got all the worst tales. I'm
no, 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 no.
I'm,
Let's be. I mean,
Jeez, I'm trying. You're like, you want to get HIV on the first time. You're gonna get people getting beat up and
no, 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 no. I mean,
jeez.
I know of people, you know what I mean, from my school, you know what I mean, from Patterson, you know what I mean, who in different places who actually wound up getting killed, you know what I mean, because they was messing with somebody's, girlfriend or boyfriend or things of that nature. That's real. Even though I know it sounds dark, I'm just saying what I'm saying is, and I know I have not been a saint out here in these streets. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't been
Yeah,
no saint. I ain't been no saint out here in these
not
streets.
chairman, not chairman.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, to be honest, I ain't been no saint, you know? I
Uh-huh.
mean, but I know the stress of this stuff after a while weighs down on you. And that's why you say after a while, you know what I mean, women to be like, man, I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean? Well, after they kind
Mhm.
of go through that phase. But like you say, even men after they come through the stress of it, you know what I mean? So a lot of times men still be like kind of like, yeah, all right, I got them numbers, but now it's time to make a change. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But the stresses in our community that's caused by and everything promotes it. Everything promotes it. You know what I'm saying? From everything from Sexy Red, everything from Lil Kim,
Mhm.
everything from it promotes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, go out, girl, do this, swallow this and do this and blah 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 blah, pause, but I'm just saying that, you know, everything promotes this way of life for our people. What I'm saying is it's more destructive than we actually think it is. It's more
Mhm.
destructive. It's more destructive. We think it's just, oh, they put, they talking about sex and they wearing this and they wearing that. It's all about developing appetite for our people. And this, and you see clients, I'm sure, with sex addiction, but sex addiction is real. When you just can't control yourself and you gotta get a fix, you gotta have it. I gotta have her, I gotta have him, but constantly it's being, bombarded in our mind. Like I said,
Mhm.
starting from Luke, and then starting from, for Two Live Crew, and then and then many of these other things that we constantly see, this is just real. This is just real stuff, bro. So I'm just saying, we have to really talk about this stuff and really start to break down, because I actually did that, start to break down the lyrics and the music, and start to break down the music videos, and start to break down many of these things that oftentimes lead to single parent homes, which single parent homes lead to broken communities. And that's what we dealing with in our community. So hold up, we got a brother that's joining us. Wait a minute, we got some comments. Uh there's Baba. There's Baba.
Maryland definitely would like to come. Maryland Rebel.
Issues that affect the Black community and discuss solutions. And we have, true, many of us are overstimulated. All right, let's bring my good brother up, and my man, brother Kwame, to the stage. Brother Kwame, man, let me tell you, brother brother Kwame from around the way, man. Brother Kwame from up around, you know what I mean, around the way. Um, his cousin is one of my best friends, actually, who I actually started this business with, started Conscious Heads and many different things. That's my boy, brother Dennis Harden. And this phenomenal brother, man. He has the football team, the Parkside Warriors. And so brother Kwame used to come around to Conscious Heads as he was growing into who he was, and he would come around, and we actually, during that time, we would play John Madden football. We would have it up on the screens, and we would bet money, man. we be here betting money and yelling and screaming, and going through it, having a good time. But same time, he started to move with us and started to come to the lectures and see Dr. Francis Cress Wells. And so this brother, like I said, he's from around the way, man. He family. He's always family in general. So always love when his brother, is around, like I said, because he from around the way. So what's going on, big bro?
Peace, brothers. Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Peace, I say.
Yeah, you sound like
because
you're talking.
my phone is dying, and but I wanted to say that I think it was important that you bring up the stress of it all. The stress. I'm a recent reformed cheater, man. I've been with my wife for.
Hey, do me a favor. Take it away from your mic, a little bit. Then try to talk now.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you look clearer. Yeah.
I'm a reformed cheater, man. I had to stop, man. I couldn't do it no more. It was too stressful.
Yeah.
Spending all that money.
Yeah.
I was with a woman who refused to leave. She refused to leave. She said she loved me. And she loved me through my pain, man. She loved me through my pain. You know what I'm saying? And I get real emotional when I start talking about my wife, man, because she has stuck by me through some difficult times. And I was flying all over the planet, literally, trying to find the thing that I had there with me all the time. The thing that I had there with me all the time. I'm seeking other women. I've been to Kazakhstan. I've been to South America. I've been from East Coast to West Coast. I've been to Detroit. I'm talking about literally chasing women, man. And I was with my wife at the time. And I'm just grateful. I didn't give her no diseases. I didn't get any diseases. I didn't take her no babies, And so the stress was more than I could bear any longer. I didn't want to do that no more. And so, I just decided that I wasn't gonna live that life. And it was terrible. It was terrible stress. I mean, I spent thousands of dollars, chasing women, and it was too much for me when it got to a point that I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this no more. And I made my mind up that I'm going to love this woman like this woman deserved to be loved. Baba Imhotep and brothers, that I respect. Baba Imhotep told me one time, he said, look, she deserved better than that. She deserved better. I told her, I'm leaving, man. I'm going to see this woman. He said, you married, your wife deserved better than that. And that stuck with me. And some of the other Babas, Baba Baruti and some of the other brothers, I never met Baba Baruti, but I see how him and his wife move. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Mhm.
brothers that are married, it made a difference to me because guess what? What you do is you hide in the shadows and you don't want people to know that you're living a
Mhm.
lie.
Mm.
Here I am
Absolutely.
supposed to be conscious. Here I am supposed to be African centered. And I'm doing things that's unbecoming of an African man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I think it's really important that you bring up the stress of it. You know, I'm hiding and I'm hoping nobody see me. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And so I had to get away from that, and I did. My wife forgave me for all of my transgressions because there have been plenty, and I love my wife, man. I love this woman,
Mhm.
and I've been knowing her for like 40 years,
Mhm.
but we've been together for like 20. So I just wanted to bring out, just come on, just to say something about the stress of all of this running around, hoping you don't catch a disease, hoping you don't get somebody pregnant, all this other kind of stuff. It's not
Mhm.
worth it. It's not worth it. So, even you talked about, I messed with somebody else's wife. I don't know if that man wanted to blow my brains out or not for messing with his wife.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I
Yeah.
just wanted, like I said, just wanted to come on really and just talk about how stressful that type of life is, how type, you know, running around with this person and that person instead of being with the one that the universe have given you. So that's all I really wanted to say. And I
Ashe.
appreciate this because it popped up on my YouTube. And so I want y'all to know I really appreciate this conversation. That's why I said this is definitely a valuable discussion that need to be had. And it's something that has to constantly be had in the community because we are so dysfunctional.
Mhm.
I thought running around and having sex with a bunch of women is how a man is supposed to be, but that's not
Yeah.
how a man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, and to be quite frankly, I'm 60 years old. I just turned 60, and I'm just learning this stuff.
That's all right.
And
Mhm.
so what I do now is I tell the young guys. I got a young guy that works for me. I told him, listen, stop running around with all them women. You're 30 years old. You don't have any children yet.
Mhm.
So you gotta. Then you get once you find out what you're supposed to do. Then it's your responsibility to spread the information.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's what you
Absolutely.
brothers are doing now. So I want you to know I really appreciate this discussion. That's all I really got to say.
We appreciate that, good brother. We appreciate
Appreciate
you
it, bro.
you you, you
Thanks for keeping
sharing
it
that.
real. Thanks for keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real, bro. And
Mhm.
he spoke of many of the stresses that he had from doing that for years.
Can I
And
say something?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, um, and I appreciate our dear brother sharing, and being, the word that people say, open and vulnerable with that, because that right there is a testimony to what is n- what is real. And um and, and I also wanted to speak to this thing about looking to heal through the between the legs of a woman,
Mhm.
looking to heal between the legs of a woman, looking to fill the void or the emptiness between the legs of a woman. And it's bi-directional. Women do the same thing as well, looking to heal by allowing man to enter them,
Mm.
and many times that is not something that just happens at a later age. This is things that we have to really look at as a result of how our relationships are with our own children, and how our most intimate relationship is with as being a mother and a father. And I'm not saying that children won't go out and do their thing, but as Brother Kwame said, it will not be normalized and you will be ashamed of it, because we know that our children will do things. But there ain't no way my son gonna come to me and tell me how he is being unfaithful. He will be ashamed of that. He know I will speak against that and down on that. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about Brother Simi. When Brother Simi says, "Is it going to change?" And I think this is one example. And I know Brother Simi, there's a lot of work. This is one example, and I appreciate him mentioning that Bob and Hotep shared with him. Look, bro, and what I also find out is lots of men can't hold each other accountable because they're doing the same thing. But any man that's around me, they're not going to tell me that they're doing a thing unless they really want to change. So they're gonna dive and hide. And I'm not saying men don't tell me things, because men do tell me things, but they won't say it in a way that says that they're not going to brag about this around me. And so yeah, we gotta create a new culture, and that's what's important. We have to raise our consciousness and create a new culture. So to answer my dear brother Simbi's question again, I think yes, it can change. It will take some work.
Definite. And I would like to say too that you're dealing with two people that represent two organizations that's been in the community doing work in the community about elevating our community. So this ain't so when we have these talks and conversations, we not just on here as just people that's just analyzing. We always trying to figure out, okay, what can we do to help to solve the problem. So so this whole relationship thing that I'm going to be doing is very important, because we want people to see what is the elements that go into having a good relationship. I tried to have the flyer queued up, but we have Brother Nuri Muhammad that's coming out on June the 14th. June the 14th, that's coming up. And the topic is how to love a black woman, how to love a black man. Following that, immediately, we have Dr. Ausar that's going to be doing a whole workshop. We're going to be doing on a Saturday, and that's June the what day is that? June the
22nd. What was it? 23rd. Let me see.
June the 22nd or June the 23rd, and we're gonna be doing a whole relationship. This is for single people as well as people that's in couples, and we're gonna be doing a whole workshop because
Sunday, June the 23rd.
Sunday, June the 23rd. So we'll actually put that flyer up, and we'll throw it on this link also. But because we do have information with that, and we have limited space for that. But family, it's about healing. So, Brother Ausar, before we get out of here real quick, because we, with all of the knowledge and information, we talked about a couple different topics. But the question is, how did you do it for 24 years? How did you do it for 12? And hold up, before you say that, I like to give it up to my sister, Patrice. My sister Patrice, who now, what I'm saying, they're coming up in the next month or so, she will be married for 30 years. 30 years. All of my mother and father had 3 children, and every last one of us have gotten married before. All of us ring holders. My sister got 6 of them herself. 6 rings, because like I said, it's every 5 years. So so I'm really proud of her. But the question is to you, brother,
Congrats.
how did you what's some of the things that goes into the patience that you have to have, and just different things? How did you do it, bro?
Yeah, I'm struggling with this last question here a little bit. So not your question, but this paragraph.
I know I was trying to yeah.
You trying to ignore it?
No, I wasn't trying to ignore. I was trying to read it. But I was going to read it while you was actually.
Oh, okay, because it's a good question, and I'm
okay. But you want to read when we put it up. You want to read it?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that LS is not under the assumption that either, at least myself, I don't know about you, Jabari, is saying to do this thing out of fear or control. One thing I realized, that you can't control nobody else. You can only impart things in them, and they're going to do what they do, and they're going to make decisions. And fear doesn't necessarily, fearing people into things leads to all types of issues, such as resentment, and actually doing the thing that you tell them not to do many times. So it says here, when speaking with young people, I don't believe the right approach should come from fear or control, but instead safety and caution. Understanding one another is very important. I think safety and caution is important, though, Brother Jabari, but I think it stops short still. Mm-hmm. And I think what I mean by, sometimes what we do, we take a passive approach to rearing and teaching and educating and so on and so forth. So it's about safety and caution, right? But safety and caution is one thing, but it's also about, on a cultural level, it's about not safety and caution. It's more about productivity. It's about progression. It's about building something together. Safety and caution limits your ability to see or foresee building a thing. So safety and caution is important, but I think we also speak into the positives of being married. So how did I do it? So just kind of like building off of that, it wasn't about safety and caution. It's safety and caution is one thing, and I agree. Like, I literally did not want to hurt my wife. I literally, if we're talking about now, I'm going to switch. I literally realized this is the woman that I want to be with for the rest of my life. I really realized that I'm talking about since I was 16, that this woman here, I didn't want to mess anything up with her, and I realized that I did not want to risk did not want to risk hurting her. Right? So this is not saying that this is not saying that I've never considered other things. In fact, a small period of time between when we was 16 or maybe 17, a small period of time, a few months, we broke up. But even in that breakup period, I realized she was the woman for me. And now how did I do that? I think that we did that. I think it was modeled for me from my mother and my father. Even I didn't have any. Once I got married, I said, "What will be the point of getting married and not staying married? What will be the point of not making this thing forever? What will be the point for me to risk with my undisciplined behaviors to destroy this woman?" I fear, if you want to talk about fear, hurting other people. I don't want to hurt my wife. I don't want to hurt my children. So another thing is, when you have children, I had children when I was young. I had children when I was 21. And this is why I say family is important. Because what I realized is that because there was no fear in me that if I had children, and back in those days, 21 was pretty late for a lot of my friends when they were having children. but still, that was young, especially considering nowadays, right? But I never feared that I wouldn't be able to take care of my children because I knew who my father was. I never feared not taking care of my children because I knew who my mother was. I never feared taking care of my children because I knew who my wife was and is, who these people are. I knew who my sisters were. I knew the family that I came from. I knew who my aunts and uncles were and are. I come from a strong nuclear and extended family, meaning that we are a village, and it doesn't matter, bro. If you have children at 21, that doesn't mean that you can't go to school. And I think we need to really look at these things a little differently. If you have children at 22, doesn't mean that you can't go to school. Something's wrong with the familial structure or culture when you say you're 19 and you out of here. You're 21 and you out of here. Look, my children can have children right now. I want to be a grandfather. I ain't gonna lie. But I want them to be able to be with the woman that they're going to be with, that they want to have a child with. So I want that to be in order. That is what I want. But they can have a child today or tomorrow, and they can still accomplish all that they will, because I'm going to support them and my grandchildren. So I'm not under this illusion that you got to wait and I got to be 70 before I'm a grandfather. I don't want to be knocking on death's door when I'm a grandfather. And I don't want my children to wait when they're too, what I'm trying to say is, I want my children are supported. I was supported by my parents, and that right there allowed me. Okay, let me back up. Having a child is nothing like having the responsibility of another life. There's nothing like being responsible for another life. My son Dennis, I never really been out there like that on an extreme level, but seriousness had to kick in when I knew I was going to be a father. My father taught me to be a father. You understand? Some people saying you're too young to be a father. No. I wasn't too young to be a father. I was 21, and my father taught me how to be a father. He reared me up how to be a father. Her family reared her up how to be a mother. It's not children having children. Children can't have children. What you call adolescence, which is a made up thing in this country, which is made up in the West, they can have children, but young adults can have children. Now, you can go younger, but I'm saying for the most part, you can be prepared. My mother was young when she had children. I don't think she was a child having a child. She was really young. I think she was probably like 15 and 16. I'm not suggesting people go out there have children at 15 because you're not ready for it. You're not prepared for it. But I guarantee you she was. Because we read people, they knew you read people differently. Now you're rearing people in a whole nother way. If it's nothing wrong with 15. Oh, my father said 15. Coming up in here, Baba. So 15 years of age, they had children. You know, and I'm not saying they didn't have no growing to do, but all of us have growing to do. But you prepare your children to have children, to be fathers, to be mothers, to be husbands, to be wives, not adolescents until they're 30 or 40. Having fun, losing many of their best years. A lot of brothers, I realized, because they weren't focused on, on certain things, certain goals, the only goal they had was to really find the next victim between a woman's legs. That was a great achievement. When I was in my early 20s, I was building business and I had a wife.
You were stable.
And that's what I'm saying. You got to come from stable households, and stable households create stable people who create stable relationships in a next stable generation.
Definitely. And that's why I got to get the Bible on. I got to get your Bible on to join us. You can join in. I actually put the link in, Bible, but I want to have you on by yourself so that we can get some of that wisdom and knowledge that you have to be able to get out to the people about having a health. Like I said, because you had a healthy family, and then you have a son that's sitting here before us talking about relationships that's been in a relationship for 24 years.
He said they were 14 and 15. So was that babies having babies? I don't agree with that. And also, it's kind of like saying you're too young to have children. It's like saying you died too early. Where do you get that stuff from? Jabari, no. What book do you have? I mean, who created that?
Some people, like I said, I definitely, like you said, I ain't running around talking about, hey, look, young people have children, because, like you said,
absolutely, they ain't ready.
You ain't ready, and you know what I'm saying. You got to have a strong village in place. Even when you get a little older, even when you get to where you are, in your early 20s, you need to have a strong. And what I hear you saying basically is that y'all had a strong village. You had a strong village. Your wife had your wife had a strong village coming up, and y'all were able to, even having children at a young age, to have people to be able to step in and say, hey, I got the children while you go to school. Hey, I got the children while you go to work. Hey, I got the children while you go out, and y'all go out and have some fun and do some things of that nature.
And that's how it should be, though.
Yeah.
I don't use the word should, but in the case of a village is supposed to take care of the village. I had my son was about to be born. You know, what my father told me just about a week or two before then.
What's that?
Quit your job because they were not treating me right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
My father said, quit. He said, in fact, go get fired for you can get go get fired for you can get unemployment. Go get fired. Son,
Yeah.
go get fired. In other words, he said, look, don't worry about that. You my son. And because you my son, you're going to be okay. And that's what we need. We need people that don't throw away their children. My father and my mother is still my mother and father. If I need them today, they still got me.
It's a blessing. That's a blessing. And
we have to, and if they're not here, guess who else got me?
Who's that?
My aunts, my uncles, but more than anything, my sisters. I don't have my brother and sister, my brother, cousin, and my sisters. My family got me. And what I'm saying, they know we got each other. There's no competition. Not to any major level, but that there's no competition that will get between us, that we will have somebody in our family considered homeless. You know, people say, well, you sleeping on somebody else's couch, you homeless. I mean, that's just that depends on how you look at it. I know I won't be homeless because I know I got a sister who got a room somewhere, or even if it's a couch, I don't see that as being homeless. But I get it. That's the problem. That's when you don't look at the family. When you don't look at the extended family. When you get when now your sister and brother, you know, if you move in with them, now you homeless because you live with your brother and sister. What is that? If somebody moving with me, they're not homeless. They have a home.
Well, I think that's the individualism again, as we stated, that we have bought into, which makes it hard for these male and female relationships to work. When we get together and we come together, we are uniting two villages together, you know, which should make us more powerful, more strong. And, you know, so when we buy into this Western civilization, the way of the Western civilization,
Please
you know,
take civilization out of there. Just so
got you. When we take the way of the Westerners, and we follow them, then we have a doomed future. So that's why we are doing the work that we actually doing. We have to encourage. We have to train men how to be good husbands. We have to train women how to be great wives in our community. Like I said, and build this community. And that's just where we at. That's just where we at.
And I know I sound extreme, but it's intentional. You gotta be radical. In order to change the trajectory that where we're going, we have to speak in a radical manner. And again, I don't want anybody to think I'm saying just go out and let your children should be having children at 12 and 13 and 14 years of age. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, but we should be preparing our children from the earliest time, from those times, to be prepared to be a mother and a father and a caregiver in the future. And if we were in a culture that was conducive in, that wouldn't be a problem either, because you can go to other cultures and other societies in this world that wouldn't even be a problem. And it wouldn't even be traumatic, because you can go through a whole rite of passage program when you're by the age of 12, 13, 14 years of age, and when you become a man. In this culture, you become an adolescent and who can go and sell their royal oats for the next 20 years. And now you got to take the next 20 years trying to heal from it.
Exactly. Great point. The person that that you read their statement, and they was talking about when speaking to young people, I don't believe the right approach should come from fear. Were they saying that you know, I guess by us, like, you know, saying like, look, don't do this because this will happen to you and this will happen to you. I think that's what maybe they may be coming from, but I don't care. Like, I mean,
that's not fair though.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it too many times where young people, I mean, you know, talk about they want to be entrepreneurs, and I, as a barber, I've watched men come in and tell me how much money they take out their check every month. Man, they taking 1,500 out my check every month. How I'm gonna live off of that, bro?
Well, normally,
$1,500 off the. No, I'm just saying that that's scary.
I'm saying
When you hear
normally
this,
normally when people put fear and or control together, they mean where you're literally utilizing yourself as an authoritative, autocratic type of figure that is putting fear in them. You better not. Where I'm
right?
trying to control, I'm putting fear in you, and maybe
Oh
some of what you're
well,
saying too, but also
yeah.
trying to be a controlling person.
I mean, I think at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
we arm our children. We teach them right. We bring them through the culture. We give them everything they need. Now, some people still gonna go out and experience some things, and then we know that there is certain things that I mean that that there's the lust, there's that nature, that man and woman nature, where they're like magnets. They kind of draw into
Mm-hmm.
each other. So we have that aspect also. I
Mm-hmm.
remember a story that Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told. He was talking about his daughter, and I think she wanted to go somewhere one day or something. And he said, she was like, "What's wrong, Daddy? Don't you trust me?" I said, "No, baby. I trust you. I really trust you. It's nature that I don't trust." you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I mean, so we do have to deal with just that nature too. I'm saying that actually draws draws us together. But it's the music and it's the culture that wants us to be together in a more destructive way, in ways that could be destructive to our healing and building as a people. So
Yeah.
let me just say this as we wrap up. Um, what's some of the things now? We got this workshop coming up. We got quite a few things coming up with lectures, and I'm gonna talk to your dad and see if he'll join us next week here on the show at around the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
let's what's some of the things that you're gonna be talking about when we do this workshop?
Some of the things we're going to talk about, and I think, okay, and I appreciate that. If I can like sum it up, I think one, we need to get back in tune with nature, right? Um, and that's not necessarily what we're going to be talking about in the workshop, but that's just how I wanted to transition. We need to get back connected and in tune with what is natural and what is real. This Western culture and society has created a fiction in our minds that set us up for failure. And I
Mhm.
agree that the fear and the fear and the control does not work because nature is real,
That's right.
right?
Right.
So we have to prepare ourselves and our children for what nature, for all of nature. My father never hid anything from me as far as these things. I mean, I was age of 5. I was in the 5th grade. My father gave me the talk about what sex was. I remember I was on his bed in his room on Willsby Avenue, 4007 Willsby Avenue in the 5th grade, where parents aren't talking about it still to this day because they
Mm,
feel like that not talking about it is going to prolong it.
mm.
Look, no, it was many more years after that before I really truly had sex. Many years. You got what I'm trying to say? So, but I did understand the mechanicals, that which I did not understand the mechanicals before, because I thought the mechanicals was that if you go and you hump on it, they used to rub pants. I thought that was sex at that point. But he told me literally that thing you have down there goes inside of something she has down there, and this is what sex is, and this is where babies come from. And this is why you're getting erect because of that. And I didn't know what the heck was going on, but he shared it with me. And some people would have went many more years trying to figure out what was going on. So we got to keep it real. We got to talk about nature. That's one of the things I really love about my father, is really talking about nature. In any talk that I give, we're going to talk about nature. We're going to talk about what is real. And what we're going to talk about on this particular workshop, we're going to deal with personalities and how the the aspects of personality. We're going to give a personality assessment to each person, each participant, which is going to give a report about the 5 factors of their personality. And you're going to be educated on personality so that you can better understand yourself and why you do things the way you do things, and that is in tune with the way that you are naturally created. And then you're going to also understand how your partner if you bring a partner and they participate how they were naturally created. What I mean by nature is that your personality is created by your experience in this world, but also your genetics, which is nature.
Right.
And also your experience is with nature, because everything is nature if you believe in, I mean, whether or not you want to admit it or not. But so we're going to go down and learn about personalities, learn about ourselves, and learn about our partners, and some of the reasons why we do things, how we operate, how we act, our moods, our temperament, and all these different things, so we can have a better understanding, so we can put together a better plan in how to move forward in a more productive manner in our relationships. Because when we don't understand personality, we expect things that are unrealistic and not in accord with that person's nature. So we're going to be dealing with nature.
No doubt, no doubt. We appreciate that, family. We've been joined by Dr. Dennis Ausar Winkler, 5-time Super Bowl winner. Going to drop some knowledge with us
Coming
on,
from my rings. Coming from my rings.
Going to drop some knowledge on us, so about how he's been able to do it. It's powerful, bro. I know we laugh and we joke about it, but it's powerful to be in a healthy relationship. And I watch your family, y'all have businesses together, and the things that you do, and I watch your young boys you have, even though I still want y'all to try for that girl. You know, I watch your family and even your father and your mother and your sisters, and it's a very powerful family.
We're looking for a grandbaby as a girl. That's what we're looking for.
Oh, okay. All right, got you. Okay. Well, you know what I mean, because I'm one of them people that started late, bro. I have 4 girls. And I thought it was over when I pretty much was giving up. I was giving up, bro. And then next thing you know, I was sitting on that step, and she told me she read the results because it was during COVID time, and she was like,
"Can I say something, brother?"
No. You about to say something crazy? Now go ahead, bro.
No, I'm just thinking about my father introduced me to Dr. Ben as a young man,
right?
And again, we have to deal with nature, and I just feel like I need to really say this. I had sisters. Growing up, lots of times you didn't want boys to like your sister. You didn't. It was like a sin if your sister had sex, right? It was like a sin if your sister had sex, and you would, in some kind of way, in your mind, you kind of lost if your sister had sex with somebody. So as a father, you don't want to marry your daughter off. Like, it's like you literally in your mind, it's like you have to struggle with nobody better come up to my daughter. And some brothers really struggle with that until their children are like their daughters are old. And they, not you, Jabari, but lots of brothers do. Like, they got the gun ready and all that, they say. They really literally don't want their daughter to be with nobody. Literally in their back of their minds, they have to go through a whole process to say, you know what, my daughter she has nature too.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Because I'm telling you, I want all my daughters and my son to get married. I want all of them because I want them to be stable. I want them to.
Have you met? Like, do you know, like Dr. Ben even says something. He said, I don't know why y'all struggling with these type of ideas. I don't know why y'all even say y'all can't even find a woman. I don't know why it's too many beautiful women here. And he said the same exact thing you said. I want my woman, my children, my daughters to be with a man. We literally struggle with that.
Bruh, that's
from an
crazy.
early age.
That's crazy because I want to know at the end of the day, I know the circle of life, and I understand the circle of life. And I understand at the end of the day, one day I won't be here. And I need to know that my daughter is going to be protected, that the circle is going to continue, that she has somebody that's going to be there for her. So I want my big man, I want all of them to be married in healthy relationships. That's that's what this is all about. After you examine your life, after you examine the things that you've been through, after you examine your mom and your dad and all of those different people, and then you start to realize that's why this whole relationship thing is going on like this, because it's like we have to have healthy relationships. I want to make sure that my daughters are straight. I want to make sure that my daughters are good, bro. My son, I want my son because that stability helps you to be able to move forward, to be able to be on your purpose in life. What's your purpose in life? And when it's working the way it's supposed to work, y'all are there for each other. You know, I mean, you make a commitment to each other, because sometimes your wife is going to have some downtime, and she gonna need that hot shot like a car. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to give her that hot shot. And sometimes that man is going to be down. It could be the loss to somebody or whatever. You're gonna need that hot shot. You know, you're gonna need that hot shot. So you know, we need each other, and we got to be able to build each other up so that we can go out and build up our families and our community. Point blank.
You know, I'm gonna say this. That's the first time I'm gonna say this live.
Uh-oh.
You know, and I rest in peace to my father-in-law, right? Like rest in power, Manthon Hunnigan. During that time, I told you that little stint where my wife and I, we kind of took a pause.
What was that, for like 2 weeks?
No, it was for some months. And you know, I fell in love with her again, though. I was like, hey, but her father said, "What's up with homie?" He didn't talk like he's Jamaican, so he said, "What's going with him, whatever, right?" And he looked at her and said, he said to her, he says, "What's going on with him? Why he not around or what have you?" You know, and he said, "You're not giving that man like he told her literally like, if you don't give him no sex, he's not gonna be around." And I'm not saying he told her that. I mean, like, let's just think about that. That wasn't what was happening, but he was like in his own mind saying, knowing that his daughter was going to have sex. A lot of us, I'm telling you, we live in a delusional world. I'm talking about, and it takes us too long to realize, and just think about it. This is why women struggle with their sexuality, because men literally believe that they're supposed to have sex with women, but their sisters or their daughters aren't supposed to have sex. In fact, I think about it when I think about slavery and how white men weren't having sex with their own women, starving their women because they wanted them to be pure. And we've bought into that Eurocentric mentality that it's pure for our women not to have sex. And they would have sex with the enslaved women so that they can have pure white women, quote unquote. So I'm saying that this Western way of looking at things has messed us up, and we gotta get out of it. Righteous Ron said, Pop said, Wagwan with bro. Wagwan with bro.
No doubt. Well, family, we thank you for joining us tonight. This is just the first of many. We're gonna be doing this a lot. We're gonna be having, like I said, some other people that's gonna be coming on, many different other scholars in our community. We're gonna be doing this a lot, so just get ready to build. Tomorrow we be on with the Real Barbershop Conversations, and you know that when that Real Barbershop Conversation is a lot more debative. You know what I mean? We talk about a lot of issues because we actually bring in the barbershop floor to your front door.
Oh, you set me up.
What's that?
You had this talk so they can come tomorrow and come for it.
Yo, then he was like, yeah, I saw him on that, man. And then he was talking about.
Then he was talking about at it again.
Then he was talking about yeah, you know what I mean. So we be there tomorrow, so y'all can check us out tomorrow at 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. We be on live with y'all.
Oh, the boy.
Again,
well, going with the boy. I got it. I couldn't read it earlier. Okay, got
it. Again, we got Brother Nuri Muhammad coming to town. You know, how to love a black woman, how to love a black man. We have Dr. Ausar that's going to be doing a workshop, and we got things loaded, fam. And Dr. Ausar, you got a couple events that's coming up. I think this weekend and not this weekend,
but
next week.
Yeah, we got T Bay Tahaka Bay in the house on June the 8th, speaking on unveiling Islam. He's going to be speaking about Islam being a traditional African tradition and pertinent for an aspect of our liberation. So come on out June the 8th, 6 to 9 p.m. If you're interested in the open mic, sign up. Give me a shout, 443-333-2970. In fact, do this real quick. Follow me on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Dr. Dennis Ausar Winkler. Go to YouTube right now. Go ahead and like this video on this page, like this video on Brother Jabari's page, Reality Speaks Media. Like it in both spaces. Leave comments in both spaces. Help us get in this algorithm. Go over there, leave a comment, like, share, follow.
No doubt. You ain't gonna get no real conversations on relationships like this. Like I said, this the first time we doing it. Me and Dr. Ausar together, but y'all get ready for many more. So we need y'all to do that. Like, hit the like button, hit the share, comment, all of that he just said. So, family, we appreciate y'all for joining us here tonight. We hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of the night and tomorrow and the rest of the week, that you have a beautiful, beautiful situation. So we love you, fam, and we say peace.
Peace, family.